to you all, our lovely viewers and followers of the Poet's Lighthouse. It is my delight to bring you yet another great episode of our show today. I am, as always, your host and your guide through these poetry's vast seas, Finn Bell, bringing you to the harbors of many emerging and important poets among us. In our virtual studio today is Dr. Martina McGowan, MD. Martina is a physician, poet, public speaker, advocate, and activist in the fight against social, racial, and sexual injustice. A writer, a potter, an artist, a leader at work and within her community, Martina believes in the example of making intelligent choices, learning, doing, and improving as you go. She enjoys traveling, reading, and speaking, as well as copious amounts of laughter with family and friends. She's the author of I Am the Rage, a poetic exploration of living inside injustice. Martina, it is an honor to have you here in our virtual studio.
It's an honor to have been invited. Thank you very much, Ben.
You're very welcome. Among what you had shared with us in your bio, this particular thing stood out to me. You said that you feel that our most valuable life skill is learning to listen. Why have we become a culture, especially prevalent here in the Western society, intent on lauding our own achievements over listening and learning from others?
Obviously, I think it's an important skill, and I've felt that way probably most of my life. Being raised as a fairly quiet child, I'm still a fairly quiet adult. I think we get much more information listening to people, than trying to parade our achievements before them, or even trying to tell them what to do. I have felt that way even as I practiced medicine. In fact, my solo practice was named the listening place. There was nothing on the sign about medicine or OB-GYN, because again, my philosophy is especially for medicine, if you let the patient finish the sentence, she may not know the technical terms that I use for something, but she will tell you what the story is, and the story will lead you to the diagnosis, I think probably 90% of the time without even laying hands on the patient.
That is
and I think
useful, yeah.
Yeah, and I think many of us are just crying out to be heard. But unfortunately, there aren't as many listeners as there are people striving to be heard.
Amen to that. That is so powerful and important to remember. So, dearest viewers, we must pause for a very brief break. But when we come back, we will visit the powerful and necessary poetry of our guest. I'm excited to be back and to have Dr. Martina McGowan join us on our show today. Martina, I will be honest. While I was going over the poetry selection that you had given us for your offering, for your reading today, I have to admit that I cried going through every single one of them. And I felt so enraged and very humbled.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Would you please honor us with a reading of your poetry right now?
The first poem I'll read this evening is In My Rearview Mirror.
Thank you.
Of course, I can hear the sirens before I see the lights. A fire truck, ambulance, or police car. Two of these cause no trepidation, no quickening of the pulse. When I look again, I see the police lights rushing towards me. Sirens blaring, getting louder, closer. I am certain they are not coming for me. Well, reasonably certain. I've done nothing wrong. I go on to check my internal checklist. Speed limit, okay. Correct lane, check. License and purse, yes. Registration and insurance in the glove box, yes. Everything I might need to reach is clearly visible on the front seat, I think. And I think again, tags up to date, probably. All should be well. But I know. I know what I look like. I know how the world sees me. Sitting in my car, I fit the proverbial profile. Black, too dark sunglasses, dreadlocks, sex unknown, probably singing too loudly, even though my windows are closed. Out of fear, I slow down even more and drift towards the right. I try with some sense of urgency to blend in with those driving much too slowly. I struggle to get my breathing under control, loosening my grip on the steering wheel, clandestinely checking again to see if anything on the front seat looks suspicious, even though I know in my heart nothing and everything can be suspicious. They finally pass me by. I almost drop my head to the steering wheel in relief. A trickle of sweat runs down my back because of the fear. Because the real fear is this: one day, this may not end so well.
Thank you for that. When I was first reading this poem, what bobbed to the surface of my mind was this occurrence a few days ago where I was confronted with the situation of someone well, feeling slighted actually, over something that was entirely trivial in the scheme of things. And they were living out of the bliss of not knowing fear of the mere act of existing.
Right.
What more do you feel you can say about or do that would pierce some degree of understanding in minds that are denying this reality?
That is almost impossible to address, Ben. Um, and part of it is education. I think that's at least part of why poets bother to write things,
Yeah.
to try to teach people, and to try to get them to see through their eyes, walk in their shoes. Because the poetry, to me, yes, there are some situations that are specifically about Black people, but I think it's about being oppressed people. Period. And I'm hoping others can see that, and share that message that, no, my life, even though they may look the same to you when I show up for work every day, they are not the same. So education, I think, is the key. And the
Education
people
is,
have to want to absorb that knowledge also.
yes. And who would be the prime people to impart? Would it be us among us, or the next generation of poets, or is this just this continuing narrative that we must press every day?
I think it's a continuing narrative. In the book, the epigraph is actually written by Langston Hughes, and what he wrote, echoes the rest of the poetry within the book, but it's written before I was born.
Yes.
So it's the same message that we have to keep perpetrating it, and sadly have to keep explaining.
Yes, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would love for you to share the next selection that you had chosen. I believe you wanted to you had shared with us that you usually like to end any set with the title poem of your book, which is "I Am the Rage." If you
Right.
could, thank you.
I'd be happy to. I am the rage. I am the rage, roiling just beneath the surface. I am the dream deferred again. I am the promises needed and repeated but never kept. I am the air between light and dark, fueling flames that burn, but can neither be consumed nor satisfy its own abiding hunger. I am the glowing embers you continue to poke and prod with meanness that bubbles over onto the streets. I am the ravenous appetite to destroy something, anything. I am the ever present clanking chains in the belly of the cargo hold, struggling to love myself, a thing you have taught me to loathe. I am the dismal days and inky skies I am the niggardly feeling that there is not enough, will never be enough. Money, land, freedom, education, life to satisfy us all. I am the outrage that flares every time you say something foolish like, I thought you were already free. I am the disappointment that breathes hot and silent every time I am dismissed, discharged, dishonored, cast aside, counted as worthless or meaningless. I am the melody that lies inside every Negro spiritual that sings praises of diminishing hopes in this life and a brighter, fairer world in the next. I am the mother who wields the belt that cuts both ways, that beats my children in hopes that you will spare their lives. I am the salty tears of anxious mothers, frightened each time her child crosses a threshold, praying for a return that is not guaranteed, like payment of some impossible garnishee on the lives we want for them. I am the furthest point from you, thrashing about in the sea of doom, gasping for air. I am the dark fiber that runs through our shared history that will not allow you to forget. A constant reminder to us both that I can never go home, can never find home. I am the rage running unbridled through the streets. I am the fire this time. I am the rapacious thirst seeking justice for all on these dusky days and obsidian nights. I am the rage that lives within the powder keg of unfulfilled lives, awaiting the spark. I am the rage. I am the lost sheep. I am the muted prayer that we will see each other clearly one day.
Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
If at all possible, Martina, would you indulge me and close your eyes with me for just a second and envision that world that you and I may never see in our lifetime? I would still like to hold some tenuous but very tensile hope that that future might still exist, where this rage does not need to be present any longer. What does that absence of rage look like to you?
It looks like a sense of freedom. Freedom to write, freedom to go about your business, freedom for people in all aspects and levels of wealth, especially within our country. To be able to pursue the things that we'd all like to obtain within our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Better living standards, better salaries, better jobs, better education for our children. Without a lot of paperwork and gobbledygook, trying to be gatekeepers,
Yes,
to
yes.
keep some of us behind while others charge ahead. So it would be a much fairer world, which
Mm,
will obviously take a great deal of work
a
and
great deal. Yes.
probably still many generations.
Yeah, but something to definitely hold on to. Hold on to, if not for us, for our children's children's children.
Right, and I'm sure our ancestors felt the same way. That
Yes.
even though life
Yes.
was crappy, for lack of a better word, that there was hope that it would be better for
Yeah.
those who came after them.
Yeah. Yeah. Never let go of that, even though sometimes it's just so easy to, to try to walk the other way.
Right, and we all still have hope, and we all still have joy within our lives.
Yes.
But that doesn't keep the truth from being that there's still that underlying rage and underlying fury when things don't go as you would have hoped.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I wanted to invite you to end our segment with something that you believe, some words of wisdom to help us move forward and move upward. Some last thoughts, please.
Um, well, for those who write, obviously keep writing and write your truth.
Oh yes.
To misquote Nikki Giovanni, all we have is truth, and
Mm,
and that's what we do.
I appreciate you so much, Martina. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Likewise.
I want to thank our guest, Dr. Martina McGowan, for sitting with us here today. You can find her work in La Libreta online, which is a poetry journal for women in creative rebellion, and the anthology The Year That Changed America, curated by Kevin Powell, among other publications. Her book, I Am the Rage, is available everywhere books are sold. To find out more about Martina, please go to her blog at https://martinamcgowan.com/the-blog-2 and follow her on Twitter at Martina McGowan and on Facebook at Martina McGowan MD. Please continue to tune in to the Poets Lighthouse and all our PGN programming. And please do not forget to subscribe, to leave comments, and to like us on YouTube. Please have a wonderful, wonderful evening.